Hey, it's Matthew, co-founder of SEO Gets. Excited to jump into the topic of query counting today. So I first want to start off with the question, what is query counting? Simply put, query counting is looking at your search console and seeing how many queries got an impression on a given day. So if I can look through this chart here and I see on Saturday, April 20th, there was 220 queries with impressions. If I were to go and select that date, and I were to come down here and to see the total amount of rows available, it would have that same number. So the reason that people want to look at query counting as opposed to just your traditional clicks and impressions is that this shows you how many eyeballs and clicks you're getting to your site, but the query counting is a good way to see the width or the range of your visibility for your website. Oftentimes, and I'll show here in a second, the different examples that sometimes you'll see your query count go up, but your clicks go down and your visibility in terms of impressions go down. And so they don't always correlate. Query counting is another way for you to understand how wide of a net that your website ranks for. One of the things that I do want to mention though is that with query counting or queries as a whole in Search Console, there will always be anonymous queries. And so we have a blog article, I'll link in the description below, but basically we have to look at query counting as trends as opposed to the exact number. So it says there's 293 queries with impressions on that date. There actually may be more than that. They normally give you 60 to 70% of the actual data. But the whole point is that we're looking at a trend that okay, there's a clear trend up or there's a clear trend down or something happened here, what happened at this date, and we're looking for opportunities to actually make improvements on our site. That's the whole reason for query counting. It's not to exactly count every single query. So the first thing is, how do you set up query counting? I will also attach a link to the blog that shows how you can do it for free in Search Console, although there's a limitation. You can only do up to 1,000 rows or 1,000 queries. Whereas a lot of times you'll have sites with more than 1,000 queries, and that's when you need an API. SEO Gets is that API. So what you can do is when you jump into your master dashboard, you just click on any site. It will pull up your individual performance dashboard, and right down here next to your branded and non-branded is query counting, already done for you. We have the totals here that you can see how many queries are on that day, and we also break it down by rankings so that you can see that not only are we getting more queries, but more queries in positions 1 through 3 and so on and so forth. So with that being said, why or how do you interpret or why use query counting? There's 3 kind of scenarios that I like to use to try and see. So I can see that there is a clear upward trend in number of queries that we are ranking for with impressions over this time period. When I come up here to my chart, I can see that along with the growth in queries, we're also getting a growth in both impressions and clicks. What that means is that normally you're improving your SEO in terms of quality content. You're adding new content. And so not only are you ranking for new topics, you're ranking for new queries, but it's also driving traffic to your site. This is the healthiest and best sign that you want to see for a growing site, is that not only are your clicks growing, but your query counting, the queries are growing as well. The next thing which happens is that you can see a growth in clicks, but as I see here, I see a decline in query counting. In the queries. And so one of the interesting things you will see when you break it down by rankings is that while we see a growth in the positions 1 through 3 and then it kind of declines a little bit, most of our decline comes from the positions 11 through 20 and 4 through 10. We can see that that is a major decline right there. And so what I see is that my clicks still grow because for the most part, our 1 through 3 positions are staying pretty the same, which is what is driving our clicks. And so there's a couple reasons this happened. One, you can have seasonality where basically you have the same amount of interest in the width of topics, but it's a season for snow, and so you're going to get a lot more clicks for snow. The same thing as brand. You might not be ranking for more branded terms, but you might be driving a lot more branded clicks. Basically, you're just having a larger demand on terms that you're already ranking for, or you have improved your ranking. So again, this is a great way where, hey, we rank for a lot less queries, but our ranking position went way up. Again, we can see here in the impressions go down, the clicks go up, but so does our ranking. So basically what happened is Google said, hey, for this blog or this article, we're not going to show you for nearly as many things, but on the things that we are going to show it for, you're going to be higher and you're going to improve your clicks. Now, honestly, for me, that's probably a good thing. And what I would do is go look at the terms that we lost and see, okay, so the intent doesn't match up for the blog article that was ranking for it. We need to go create a new blog article to recover that all of where these impressions were going, all these queries that we lost. It probably requires a new page to rank for those queries. So that's what I would do. One of the other things that you can use for that is the striking distance report and see, okay, here are the queries that I was ranking on page 2 for, and that we may have lost or we've gotten a lot of impressions, but we need to create a new page for that that query. So this is a great way to use the annotations or the striking distance keywords report with the total query count. The last one is looking at it from the perspective that we're growing in terms of query count, but we're staying stagnant or declining in clicks. And so often what that is showing that they're showing it for more topics, but your page doesn't answer that intent well enough. So you need to go back and look at the queries that it's now ranking for and determine, do I need to add those to the page, or do I need to create a new article that answers that query that I'm getting impressions for, but not clicks? So obviously it's showing me for more topical coverage, but at the same time, my clicks aren't going up in that same manner. So I either need to improve that page for those new queries, or I need to write new content. With that being said, if you want to learn more about why you should be counting queries with some specific use cases, we have a blog below on the top reasons that you should be using query counting. And again, we have a free 7-day trial to set up with SEO Gets. You can jump in, connect your Search Console account, and get this information right away. It's already going to be right here, right at your fingertips. So I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, hit me up at matt@seogets.com. And we look forward to continuing to build fun tools like this to help you improve your SEO.